In this section of the course, I'm going to be talking about directories and how they can help you in your SEO strategy in several ways. But first, I need to explain what I mean by a search directory. What exactly is the difference between a search engine and a search directory?
In the earliest days of the World Wide Web, back in 1992, and even into the middle of 1993, there were no search engines. There were simply lists of links to other websites. While the web was small, just a few hundred websites in the middle of 1992, there was little need for anything more advanced than this. But as the web grew, in particular exponentially in the summer of 1994, these lists grew into directories, which are essentially big, categorized lists of websites. It's hard to imagine, but back in those days, people were actually buying paper directories of the web, and these directories soon found themselves online. For instance, O'Reilly & Associates took a book that it published in 1992, The Whole Internet User's Guide and Catalog, and put it online in the summer of 1993 and called it the Global Network Navigator. Then, in 1994, came Yahoo, and Yahoo became the world's most popular search site. If you wanted to find information on the web, you would probably go to Yahoo to begin. But it wasn't a search engine, it was a search directory. There are several important differences between search engines and search directories. Firstly, data collection. A directory contains human-submitted or human-collected data, either submitted to the directory by the site owner or collected by someone working for the directory. On the other hand, a search engine uses programs, search bots, to collect the data. Working like a web browser, the search bots request pages from websites, read them, then request other pages, linked to from those first pages. Thus, they, in effect, crawl through the web, gathering pages. Next, what is being indexed? The search directory's index contains information about websites. The directory typically contains a site name, a URL pointing to the home page of the website, and a short description of what's in the site. On the other hand, a search index really indexes web pages rather than websites. The goal of the search index is to help people find specific web pages, while the directory helps people find specific websites. Also, there's the user interface issue. A directory allows someone to either search for a site or to browse through the directory, working their way through categories and subcategories. Search engines, though, merely let you search for specific pages. So, while Yahoo was for a while the Google of the day, the most important search site on the web, eventually the limitations of directories became obvious. They only hold a small amount of data, merely a short description of each site, rather than a detailed index of all, or at least many, of the pages within the site. Over the years, the directories fell into disuse, and in fact, in many cases, have disappeared. Yahoo, for instance, although it mostly provided search engine results, also kept the search directory running all the way up until the end of 2014. Almost nobody knew it was there, though, and so a little over 20 years after it started, the directory closed down. Google also had a search directory all the way up to the middle of 2011. Google's data came from a directory called DMOZ, or the Open Directory Project. This is owned by AOL and volunteer-run. The site provided its data to many different sites, not only Google, but AOL, Netscape, Lycos, and so on. But most sites that used DMOZ directory data in the past have stopped doing so, and the directory itself is hard to get into these days.
So the major directories are disappearing, but there are many smaller directories, and getting listed in directories can still be helpful, as I'll explain in the next lesson.